Tonight, Trump's new warning. The president doubles down, ratchets up the rhetoric, and says his fire and fury threat maybe wasn't tough enough. His new message for Kim Jong-un. Developing news on the opioid crisis to be officially declared a national emergency. What the surprise announcement means for so many families. Mystery sonic attack. American diplomats in Cuba hit with hearing loss after a series of bizarre incidents like something out of a spy novel. Horrifying and shocking. Taylor Swift takes the stand, describing an alleged groping incident involving a radio DJ, a contentious showdown with the defense. And live from New York, we're with the Weekend Update guys, back on the desk tonight in prime time. And there's a lot to cover. Nightly News begins right now.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening, and thank you for being with us tonight. President Trump fired off another round of vague but ominous-sounding threats at North Korea this afternoon. In his latest verbal salvo, the president seemed to paint another red line, this time over Guam, the U.S. island North Korea threatens to bracket with missile strikes.
Let's see what he does with Guam. He does something in Guam, it will be an event the likes of which nobody's seen before, what will happen in North Korea.
The president's comments came during what was the closest thing we've seen to a full-fledged presidential news conference in months. Mr. Trump seemingly eager to sound off on everything from the Russia investigation to the opioid crisis, which he called a national emergency. We have it all covered, but let's start with the crisis in North Korea and NBC News White House correspondent Kristen Welker.
A defiant President Trump escalating his war of words with North Korea, digging in on his threat of fire and fury.
If anything, maybe that statement wasn't tough enough.
The president making the ominous comments from his golf club in Bedminster after security briefings with his vice president, national security advisor, CIA director, and chief of staff, responding to critics who argued his earlier remarks crossed a dangerous line.
It's about time that somebody stuck up for the people of this country.
North Korea has ratcheted up its rhetoric this week, now threatening to launch missiles by mid-August aimed at the U.S. territory of Guam.
Let's see what he does with Guam. He does something in Guam, it will be an event the likes of which nobody's seen before, what will happen in North Korea. It's not a dare, it's a statement.
And on the specter of nuclear conflict,
I would like to denuke the world. I know that President Obama said global warming is the biggest threat. I totally disagree. And nobody, including North Korea, is going to be threatening us.
But when pressed on whether he's considering a preemptive strike, which officials tell NBC News is on the table.
We don't talk about that. I never do. I'm not like the other administration that would say we're going into Mosul in 4 months. I can tell you that what they've been doing and what they've been getting away with is a tragedy. And it can't be allowed.
The president also lashed out at his predecessors, calling them ineffective and acknowledging a new round of sanctions might not be enough to solve the problem, even denying any internal discord when it comes to communications in his administration.
There are no mixed messages. And I'll tell you this, it may be tougher than I said it, not less.
His message to Americans now, stay calm.
People of this country should be very comfortable.
But to North Korea
better get their act together or they're going to be in trouble like few nations ever have been in trouble in this world.
The president's fire and fury comments may be equally aimed at getting China's attention. The administration sees China as the link to getting North Korea to back down. Lester.
Kristen Welker with the president in New Jersey. Thank you. As that war of words plays out between President Trump and Kim Jong-un, suddenly caught in the middle are 160,000 Americans living and working on the U.S. territory of Guam, a U.S. military stronghold and an island within striking distance of North Korea. Our team has made its way to Guam tonight, where residents are on edge, as NBC's Miguel Almaguer reports.
Tonight, Guam is the target, the impending threat coming from the North Korean regime, now lashing out with unusual specifics. Their military examining an enveloping strike of the U.S. territory. 4 ballistic missiles, they say, could be fired in the next week, flying over Japan and Hiroshima, landing some 20 miles off Guam's coast. The final order would need approval from Kim Jong-un.
If the North Koreans actually launch missiles directed at Guam, it will lead to U.S. military unilateral reaction, which could indeed lead to general war.
Guam in the crosshairs because of its proximity to North Korea and its military might. The Air Force, Navy, and Coast Guard on an island 30 miles long. Andersen Air Force Base is a launching pad for B-1 bombers. The military and its nearly 7,000 troops sprawl across 1/3 of the island. It's known as the tip of the spear, the westernmost military installation on U.S. soil, though there are American bases spread across much of the region, including this one in South Korea.
This is a 24-hour, 365-day operation.
Earlier this year, Lester got rare access to the underground command center where any North Korean missile launch would be detected first. Also protecting the region, THAAD, a cutting-edge missile defense system. But if North Korea launches the barrage of missiles, they could hit Guam in just 14 minutes.
I feel confident in our military.
I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm scared.
Today, as the sun rises in Guam, so does the level of concern.
Miguel joins us now from Guam. Something that stuck out in your report, 14-minute flight time for a missile from North Korea to the island there. Are there civil defense drills? What are they doing to prepare the public?
Well, Lester, no new security measures are in place, though there is new concern on this island. An existing warning system is in effect. There are 15 sirens in low-lying areas like beaches that would warn the public of an incoming threat. That's the same system that would be used if there was a missile launch.
All right,
Lester?
Miguel Almaguer in Guam for us tonight. Thank you. Meantime, just across the border from North Korea, the growing crisis is keeping nerves on edge in South Korea. Tonight, we get the reaction from inside that country where thousands of U.S. troops are also in the potential line of fire. NBC's Bill Neely is in Seoul and has that part of the story for us.
They've faced off and traded threats for decades. Today, the war of words grew. South Korea's military calling the North's threat to Guam absurd and warning it'll take immediate and decisive action over any attack alongside its American allies. They'll hold more joint exercises this month. South Korea's president today called for a bigger army and warned North Korea to stop ratcheting up tension. In the capital, Seoul, anxiety. It's just 35 miles from North Korea, a city of 25 million, protected by 23,000 American troops, all of them in the crosshairs. People here critical of the North's threat to Guam.
I think it's an attempt to start a war.
And critical of President Trump's threat.
So I thought it's very irresponsible and selfish.
Well, there is no panic here, no jets are being scrambled, but there is deep unease as the tough talk from all sides gets more intense. Lester?
All right, Bill Neely in Seoul for us. Thank you. And rounding out our coverage, Bill, North Korea was just one of many subjects the president sounded off about late today. A lengthy Q&A making news on the opioid crisis, the future of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, and the man leading the Russia investigation. NBC's Peter Alexander has our report.
Tonight from his Bedminster Golf Club, the president taking a swing at a wide range of topics, insisting he has no plans to fire special counsel Robert Mueller.
I'm not dismissing anybody. I mean, I want them to get on with the task, but I also want the Senate and the House to come out with their findings. I won because I suppose I was a much better candidate than her.
On Vladimir Putin expelling more than 700 American diplomats in retaliation for the latest round of U.S. sanctions.
I want to thank him because we're trying to cut down on payroll.
President Trump saying the FBI delivered a strong signal with its recent raid of his former campaign chairman's suburban apartment.
Whether or not it was appropriate, you'd have to ask them. I've always found Paul Manafort to be a very decent man.
Earlier, the president declaring war on the opioid epidemic.
And I'm saying officially right now, it is an emergency. It's a national emergency. We're going to spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money on the opioid crisis.
Mr. Trump calling that crisis a serious and unprecedented problem, with opioids blamed for the deaths of nearly 100 Americans every day.
You know, when I was growing up, they had the LSD and they had certain generations of drugs. There's never been anything like what's happened to this country over the last 4 or 5 years.
President Trump's waging another battle with the Senate's top Republican, Mitch McConnell, even as he praises McConnell's wife, Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao.
She's doing a very, very good job. I'm very disappointed in Mitch. But if he gets these bills passed, I'll be very happy with it, and I'll be the first to admit it. But honestly, repeal and replace of Obamacare should have taken place.
That public swipe in the wake of Senate Republicans' failure to repeal and replace Obamacare follows this critique from McConnell this week.
Our new president had, of course, not been in this line of work before, and I think had excessive expectations about how quickly things happen.
For the president, no vacation from venting frustration.
The finals.
President Trump today also commenting on banning transgender people from serving in the armed forces, saying he has great respect for the community, adding, "It's been a very confusing issue for the military. I think I'm doing the military a great favor." Lester?
All right, Peter Alexander, thanks. Now to a mystery threatening to drive a wedge into the renewed relations between the U.S. and Cuba. Investigators are examining whether American diplomats at the U.S. Embassy in Havana were victims of a hidden attack that may have caused hearing loss. Let's get more from NBC News Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent Andrea Mitchell.
Tonight, U.S. government officials tell NBC News they suspect American diplomats in Cuba were the target of acoustic attacks, ultrasonic sound waves, or some investigators say possibly even poison. The bizarre incidents beginning last October left a group of U.S. diplomats with severe hearing loss, blamed on what one official says could have been a surveillance device deployed inside or outside the Americans' Havana residences, which are all owned by Cuba's government. Several U.S. agencies, the CIA, FBI, and State Department's Diplomatic Security Service, are all investigating.
We don't know exactly where this came from. Okay, we can't blame any one individual or a country at this point yet. An investigation is underway. We take that very seriously.
Canada also says some of its diplomats in Havana also suffered symptoms. In Havana, a Cuban newscaster says the government is investigating and, quote, Cuba has never nor would it ever allow that the Cuban territory be used for any action against accredited diplomatic agents or their families. So who's responsible? Perhaps a third country. Some suggest possibly even Russia, where there has been a surge of harassment and outright attacks against U.S. diplomats in recent years. Or just a surveillance attempt gone terribly wrong, says a former CIA veteran.
I personally think it was an accident, a surveillance attempt. I do not think the Cubans would attack us physically like that, especially given the timing.
The U.S. has already expelled 2 Cuban diplomats from Washington because of the unexplained illnesses in Havana. Only a first step, depending on the investigation. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Washington.
There are new revelations in the investigation into that Penn State fraternity hazing death. A detective testified today that one of the 18 fraternity members charged in the death of 19-year-old Timothy Piazza deleted basement surveillance footage from that night. Police say the victim, a pledge, suffered a traumatic brain injury from falls, including one down the basement steps, and fraternity members waited 12 hours before calling for help. There's more ahead this evening. Taylor Swift takes the stand. The pop superstar faces the man she accuses of inappropriately touching her in a courtroom showdown. Also, the explosive surprise that suddenly shook up a city council meeting, all caught on camera.
Stay with me, Mr. Parker.
When a critical patient is far from the hospital must come to the patient.
Stay with me, Mr. Parker.
The AT&T network is helping first responders connect with medical teams in near real time.
Stay with me, Mr. Parker.
Saving time when it matters most.
Stay with me, Mrs. Parker.
That's the power of AND.
Salonpas. We're the world leader in medicinal pain patches.
Our latest innovation, Salonpas Lidocaine, using hydrogel-based technology with the maximum strength lidocaine
you can buy without a prescription.
Salonpas Lidocaine. Nothing is proven stronger or more effective against pain.
So you're saying you didn't eat this ice cream?
Baby, I swear on my lucky shirt. I ate it.
Frightening bolt. Seen it, covered it. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Before I had the shooting, burning of diabetic nerve pain, these feet jumped into city life as a kid, raised 2 rough and tumble boys, and kept my town moving. But I couldn't bear my diabetic nerve.